The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Media Mash,
a roundtable of Cowboys insiders
dropping wisdom
and offering sizzling takes
on the current state of your Dallas Cowboys.
Now, your host,
Newy Scruggs.
Hello, everybody. It is the Media Mash right here on DallasCowboys.com radio. You know the panel. We got Clarence Hill, the Footwear Star Telegram, Make Sci-Fi, My Fraternity. Got Nick Harris, DallasCowboys.com. Saad Youssef makes his maiden voyage in here. Saad, you can take your credential off. We know your credential. We know you're legitimate, man. You do not have to explain yourself here. Saad is working for The Athletic. He also covers the Dallas Stars. The man is out here doing many things. I'm Newy Scruggs. I am your host, Make Sci-Fi's finest. So, all right. Nick, hit me with the practice report for the Cowboys here.
Yeah, so
because last week, my goodness gracious, it changed a whole lot from Wednesday to Friday.
Yeah, it's definitely not as bad as it was on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday as from last week as far as having surprises on there. I guess
it's early in the week. Let's put a pin in that.
Let's
put a pin in that to say, because we didn't know nothing about stuff till late.
Can you wait till he goes through it, sir? Please.
We will start with
Nick. Thank you.
CeeDee Lamb and DeMarcus Lawrence took the day off for rest reasons. So nothing too much to worry about there. Just did not practice for rest. Looking at the three offensive linemen, the starters up front that missed the game on Sunday in Arizona. Looking at Tyron Smith with his knee issue, Zach Martin with his ankle issue, and Tyler Biadasz with his hamstring issue. All three did not practice today. Chuma Edoga limited with his elbow injury that he's been battling since the second game against the Jets. And that's all we got. So no surprises as far as any new additions today, at least. And the three offensive linemen still did not practice. They were off the side with Britt Brown doing rehab work today. So we'll see how they go into the week.
All right. So, Saad, since you knew, I'm going to go ahead and throw this one to you first. How we feel about this offensive line?
I think they should get at least one or two of them back, and if they do, I feel a little bit better. Without three of them, without Zach Martin, Biadasz, and Tyron Smith, it's hard to have a whole lot of confidence just because, we talked about the offensive line depth being an issue even coming into the season. So this is something that, was anticipated. With Tyron, you knew at some point it was going to happen. You just hope that it's not too long term. Zach Martin, that's a situation where after the Jets game, we talked to him in the locker room, and he said he was fine. He said everything was good.
And he told us that he left. Like, if the game was competitive, I'd have stayed in there, but he was fine. So, yeah, that changed. Changed. All right, so let me ask this question here, because we debated this on the Players Lounge. If Tyron doesn't go, is Tyler Smith out there at left tackle this week? What do we think?
So it was asked today during the press conference by Brad Sham, does Tyler Smith get any other work at a different position this week? And he said, I refuse to comment on that, or he said he didn't want to speak on that. So I would say yes. Looking at how Chuma Edoga looked at guard a couple of weeks ago when he had to fill in for Tyler Smith, I've always felt like he's a more natural guard anyway. He's got a wide set. He's got those phone booth type hands that just work really well in those close range situations. I really liked what he put together at left guard. I think they're starting to see the same things. Put him at left guard, put Tyler Smith at left tackle, and let's see how the situation gets solved moving forward.
And that probably would have been the case last week, except the Tyler Smith injury happened on Saturday.
Yeah.
And Tyler hadn't played in a couple of weeks, and so he was practicing all week at guard, so you don't make that move. But, going forward, Mike McCarthy talked about it the other day, it just depends on how long these guys are going to be out. And it's a one-week thing, it's a couple-of-week thing. Looking at, I think that just based on practice today, with the fact that Zach and Tyler Biadasz were at least working on the cords, and we saw no sign of Tyron Smith working on the cords, those guys have a better chance of playing than Tyron. And so one reason why, excuse me.
You going to be okay? You need to take a little break?
I did already. One reason why Mike McCarthy, certainly one reason why Mike McCarthy didn't want to answer, obviously competitive reasons, and he doesn't want to give a game plan away. But there's no question that the best option is Tyler Smith at left guard, at left tackle, and Chuma at left guard.
I think also you can't be as limited as you were against the Cardinals in terms of what your play sheet is as well, because Mike McCarthy told us on Monday that he called one 7-step drop and really didn't have the freedom to really do much else in the pass game. And I understand it's a West Coast offense and you're trying to get the ball out quick anyways, and Dak has had that reputation all season, but you want to have the option that, the confidence in your offensive line to do more, to open up the playbook. And with Tyler Smith, we've all seen, obviously, he's played left tackle, left guard. I do think that at some point you also want to have some stability with him in general, because it does take a little bit of a difference playing left guard and left tackle. I haven't talked to Tyler in particular about this, but I do remember talking to Connor Williams about this a few years back when he was here, and him making that transition from tackle to guard and what he played at Texas and what he played here. And he did talk about there's a lot of changes in footwork and body type. He didn't really feel comfortable until a whole offseason. Not saying Tyler Smith can't do it, and it's kind of what Clarence said. It's more about how long are these guys out. But if it's a short-term thing, you're a little bit more left tackle is the most important position on the offensive line, so you're a little bit more prone to put Tyler out there.
Did he? And I know he talked about how preparing them better, he should have done that. But how limited was he in his play sheet? Did McCarthy talk about that? Because
yes, he talked about it. They took things out, and certainly they didn't call things. I think that's one reason why they called too many runs down close, and different things like that. So I don't know how limited it was, but and to me it's an indictment, because to say that those guys were not ready to start and they didn't really have them ready to go and had to take things on the playbook, but damn, Zach Martin didn't practice all week.
Tyron was the only late addition. The other ones.
Well, Biotis got hurt on Thursday,
right?
And they don't practice on Friday,
right?
And they didn't really know, and I guess they were trying to give them a chance to, on Saturday, but I don't know how they weren't ready to go. You understand that you had these injuries and stuff like that, but that's no excuse going forward. You guys have got to have those guys ready to go, and I think it's just It's they after the game we talked about we had so much going on last week. It's like somebody died. Nobody died. Okay, there were not a death in the family. Yes, it's a disappointment that Trayvon Diggs got hurt, and it's a disappointment you had these injuries. But how could that? That we had so much, like it was a tough week. We had so much going on. I mean, come on, this is football.
Yep.
I mean, injuries happen across the league. And you act like somebody died and you had to take sick leave and bereavement leave and you couldn't prepare, and that's not what happened.
I will say that the three spots that are ailing on the offensive line, if you're ranking them, they're the top three spots that would be that you would really hurt by missing, because left tackle is the most important position. The center, out in Oxnard, I remember talking to McCarthy about this multiple times, about just the responsibility that Tyler Biotis has in assessing the pre-snap situation, the protections, all that stuff. And then at right guard, you probably have, that is your single best offensive lineman. So if you're ranking the three most important, it's probably those three come before your right tackle and your left guard anyways.
So no doubt. And we've talked about all season, the weakest link on this team was their depth on the offensive line. It's problem across the league, but their offensive line depth was a problem. It's something that everybody identified. I told everybody they were blue in the face. You got better backup cornerbacks. They were talking about Trayvon Diggs. You do got backup offensive linemen.
Okay.
And so that's the bigger problem. That was the bigger problem, and something that you again. Prepare, practice, and get the guys ready to go. No excuses.
So Tyler Biotis doesn't play. Did they sign Billy Price?
Yes, to the practice squad.
Okay, to the practice squad.
Well, again, speaks to another example of you adding another center. That's, to me, you don't have the confidence that Tyler Biotis is going to play.
And that was my next thing is going into that. Okay, this it says something.
To me it says something. And Tyler Smith had a hamstring strain. And he was out 2 weeks. And Tyler Biotis is a hamstring strain. It may be 2 weeks.
Yeah, and Brock Hoffman is out of practice squad elevations, so it would have had to have been Sean Harlow stepping in at center, or somebody who hasn't played center before. So it makes sense going ahead and adding Billy Price if you need him. He's also first rounder number 14 on this team. The 14 former first round picks on this team now. But yeah, it's definitely center depth going into the week.
So he's a former first round pick that's on the practice squad
from Ohio State.
That tells us something about his history in the league.
45 starts, 69 career games. Had 11 starts with Arizona last year. Didn't really excel in those opportunities, obviously, but he's bounced around practice squad since then.
But at least he snapped the ball before. He's done it in the game.
Yeah,
he snapped
absolutely.
the ball in the game before.
Yeah, because they were about to ask you to play center. I
Hey,
heard
listen.
it. I had a source tell me.
You
Yeah.
weren't going to do that. Man. That's too old. Got age.
I think that's what Newey played in high school, so he fit the bill more than me.
I
I
will
was
say-
I was in the backfield. Okay.
I will say, I think offensively speaking, talking about
You
the
got black and
Arizona
white
game,
photos of it, too.
8mm.
Yeah, they didn't have the forward pass.
I got 8mm. That's right. We ran that thing.
that's all
We
you
ran
had to
that
do,
thing. We
Wing
ran that
T
thing.
offense.
It was the wishbone.
Oh, choo-choo hill over here,
It was a
right?
Houston Veer. We ran that option.
I think,
Schulenburg, was that the high school?
Yes, sir. Schulenburg High
Is it
School.
still around?
Oh, I spent. Yeah, it is. I spent some time there.
State
my last
title
job.
teams down there, sir. This
Yep.
man knows.
Yeah, a little bit. I think offensively speaking. Oh my goodness.
Oh wow.
Why are we doing
Show
this?
it. Put it up, Chris.
Why
There we go, Chris.
Why we
There we
doing
go.
This? Why we doing this? What?
love
Wait,
that.
people just keep stuff in their phone about you.
Look at the hairline. See,
That's
like
all
a
I'm
high
saying.
school. Right
Same
there.
hairline, baby.
Getting away from
Oh,
it.
my God.
But you see that meme mug, boy. That meme
Yeah,
mug.
that's crazy.
You see that meme
If
mug.
I see that coming downhill, I'm moving.
That meme mug, baby. Fofo speed. Yeah, you see that meme mug. What you looking at, man? Stop it.
Well, we gonna go to break on that. Okay, we'll just go to break right on that.
Hey, we got a quarterback. We got a high school quarterback right here.
More
Here we go.
with Nick Harris, Saad Youssef, Clarence Hill, I'm Newey Scruggs. This is the Media Match on DallasCowboys.com.
What you?
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
Hi, I'm Danny McCray, Dallas Cowboys alumni player here with Smoothie King. And Smoothie King wants to ask you, what's that sound? That's the sound of you and everyone else absolutely loving new smoothie bowls from Smoothie King. And woo, me too. These smoothie bowls start with acai and pitaya and are handcrafted with fresh toppings like sliced bananas, sweet berries, crunchy Purely Elizabeth granola, and a savory peanut butter drizzle. New smoothie bowls, only at Smoothie King, the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys.
To kick off the 2023 NFL season, Hugo Boss teamed up with the NFL and Micah Parsons to launch an iconic apparel collection featuring hoodies, crews, t-shirts, polos, joggers, and more. The bold, unique apparel of the Boss NFL collection unites football and fashion while reflecting what it truly means to be a boss. Get yours today at nflshop.com/HugoBoss, at HugoBoss.com, and at Boss retail stores. Hashtag be your own boss.
We got big personalities. We got big hair, big belt buckles. We got fans all across this big state and enemies in every other one. We even got a big star on the 50-yard line. Smirnoff knows football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks home or away, we rally together. We cry together, and we always rally cry together because, most of all, we got big love for them boys. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
Back to Media Mash.
Media Mash! We do it on Wednesdays and Thursdays, right here on DallasCowboys.com radio. I'm your host, Newey Scruggs. Nick Harris, DallasCowboys.com. Saad Youssef of The Athletic. And then we got Clarence Hill, Fort Worth Star Telegram. All right, gentlemen. The Patriots have won 6 of the last 7 against the Cowboys.
Sound familiar?
Yes, I bring this up because last week we came into it saying how the Cardinals had won six of the last 7 against the Cowboys, and nobody gave the Cardinals a little chance at all. Next thing you know, they won. Oh, hi, Clarence. Go ahead.
Well, the difference is that the unique thing about the Cardinals' dominance, it was with Tony Romo, it was with Dak Prescott, it was with all these different quarterbacks. The Patriots' dominance was Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady alone. And the last win they had was the Cowboys. The last matchup the Cowboys won, obviously minus Tom Brady. So I think the devil is in the details.
So
That's all I'm saying.
So as I was saying this, Nick and Todd, that was going to be the ender of what I wanted to say. But no. I got something to say.
I'm just trying to get the people the right context.
I'm going to.
I got to get the people the context.
I got a
whole
podcast we just did on the players. I did the same thing. So it's like telling the same joke. Get ready to say.
Yeah, they don't do the homework though. They don't do the homework like we do.
My gosh, golly, gee.
Love you.
Yes. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. There's no love.
Love
man.
your linen
You're
shirt.
Terrible frat brother.
Is that pink?
Sometimes. Terrible.
Is that pink or salmon?
Terrible. I don't know.
That's not salmon.
It's not salmon.
I don't think.
Is that pink?
I think it's magenta.
Magenta. That's what it is.
Maybe it's coral.
I made that up.
It's coral. That's it. That's good.
By the way, the name is coral.
Nice coral linen shirt. Nice.
Yes, it is a untuck it.
It's 5-letter words.
Untuck it shirt.
I'm sorry. Continue on.
I got nothing for you other than Stephon Gilmore spoke in the locker room today. What did he have to say?
Yeah, I mean, he praised just Belichick's preparation a lot. Was talking about how it's something that he has a great deal of respect for. Obviously, he spent 5 years there, so he knows how that whole system operates. But I think the way that he spoke is something that he was there, so you want to hear more from him. But there's this thing of having respect for an opponent, but not bowing down to them, not being too respectful of them. And I think Stephon Gilmore has that perspective. He's been around. He's been in all those big moments, and that's kind of what he was talking about. Where Belichick is a great coach, and as he said, one of the greatest coaches of all time. But come Sunday, that goes out the window. You gotta get the W.
Gilmore, according to one media member, looked slow. It's not me. It's a media member said that he looked slow in the Jets game. And then this game happened. And so they kind of double like, hey, he's not that guy. What's your opinion of Gilmore at this point in his career? One of the oldest corners in the game.
I mean, I think Gilmore's still effective. Obviously, he can't run like he used to. And I know when I asked the coaches about could he still run, and they said that, obviously he was going to use leverage and different things to make up for that. But he's still savvy. He still can reroute guys. He still knows what routes guys are running. It's funny to me because I know that media member was talking to him. We've been debating, and he's an extremist. You can't give up nothing. If you're good, you can't give up no plays. Like the best players, you can't give up a catch. And stuff like that. So hey, I take his commentary with a grain of salt. But he gave up some plays against the Cardinals, and so without Diggs, you need him to lock down. But he's not going to. I mean, the big play against the Jets, I mean, the safety got to make the tackle. I mean, he's not running with Garrett Wilson. He's one of the best receivers in the game. You make the tackle, it's not the play that it was. But, you need him to be better. And I think the one thing I asked McCarthy about, last year Bland played mostly on the left side. I think he's more comfortable on the left side. And because the injury happened on Thursday, they didn't really move things around. But there's a chance that Gilmore could play right corner and Bland left corner, going forward. Gilmore's been the left corner with Diggs at right corner. So you can look at some of that and see some of that.
Stay with me there, because it's something we chatted about on the Players Lounge, get everybody's thoughts on it. Should Gilmore travel?
Yes, absolutely, especially with Diggs being out. I mean, if
travel with who?
Travel, it depends on the
right.
Matchup. It depends on the matchup. On Sunday, no.
On Sunday.
This upcoming Sunday, no.
They don't have anybody to travel
with.
But
when they go play Philly and there's multiple weapons and you need to be able to account for different type of skill sets and physical body traits and
but Philly got two number ones. Who are you gonna travel with?
I'm sorry.
Philly has two number ones. You gonna travel with Brown?
He's gonna travel with Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Brown has that big physical skill set. You want Gilmore to be able to match up with him no matter where he's at, whether that be outside, inside, whatever.
I think it's a page out of Belichick's book of, he takes away your top weapon, your number one guy. And I think Gilmore's the guy who, you can travel, you can have him travel. But like you said, in Philadelphia, that's different because they have two number ones and a quarterback who is extremely talented in multiple facets. But generally speaking, I think you use Gilmore as the guy to wipe out your top weapon, and then you have so much talent, the rest of your defense to operate the rest.
Well, two things. First of all, why are y'all talking about future stuff this week? I mean, y'all need to focus on that Players Lounge. I need y'all to hone in, number one. he's not traveling this week. There's no reason for him to travel against the Patriots. That should not even be a conversation piece in this week's leading up to this week's game. I'm just telling y'all need to pump the brakes on that players' lounge. I mean, why are we talking about that? Furthermore, as good as Gilmore is, he's not Slay and Diggs at this point in his career. I don't know if he travels. I don't know if there's no guarantee. Yes, he's still the best corner, most experienced cornerback, but I don't know if you need him to travel because he's not like he's going to lock them down like he did when he was younger.
Which, ironically, was my feeling. He's not a younger corner. Mm-hmm. Diggs is a young guy, really still hasn't even hit his prime yet, so you can ask him to do that. But then also the other thing comes with when you talk about, well, you want someone to travel, well, who's the other corner? Because can the other corner not? So it's.
And the only reason you travel, guys, is because he's special. You don't just travel your best corner. You travel the corner that's supposed to be special, And I don't know if he's special athletically as a corner at this point in his career.
The other thing also is if he does travel and they bring him in the slot, I mean, you're already down one outside corner anyways. So I mean, at that point, what would even be the extent of him traveling? Because then you got Bland on the outside on one side. If the other team brings Gilmore in the slot, then what's happening on the other side?
I mean, you're manning up all around, and that just be Jordan Lewis plays the other receiver wherever he is. I mean, but the bottom line is that's not going to be the case this week. Let's focus on what's happening right now.
Let's go to the run game. New England, 157 yards against the Jets. Talked to Neville Gallimore. I also talked to Osa Digizua while you were standing over there conversing with CeeDee Lamb the entire time. I decided to engage with defensive tackles. These guys said that they looked at the film. Gallimore specifically said we had too many guys trying to make big plays. Just do your part there. I don't know if it was just the common let's just say these generic things, but they did seem that they learned from the film, they'll be okay, and they won't make these same mistakes this week. Your thoughts?
Just on the run game, I think they got out physicaled on Sunday with the offensive line up front. Obviously, Arizona had a lot of good pull schemes that Dallas hadn't really seen yet, and they've struggled with in the past. And Jonathan Gannon threw those right back in their face and said, "Prove that you've had this fixed," and they didn't have it fixed. And then I think the second level is just as responsible as the defensive tackle position and the run game being as successful as it was in the first half last week for Arizona. I mean, the second level was not generating anything whenever they were getting into the second level, the offensive linemen, and they were throwing off their defensive tackle matchup and then getting right to Leighton Vander Esch or right to Damone Clark or right to Marquise Bell even, and lanes were just opened up all the way through. They talked about 6 explosive plays that they had on the ground from Arizona. Dan Quinn talked about that on Monday. On 4 of them, offensive linemen were getting to the second level, and explosive plays being 15 or more yards on the ground. So, that's got to be a big point of emphasis, not only on the defensive front to keep your guy home, but also on the second level. We're realizing where that guy is coming in from the second level and making sure you're getting around him.
I also think Micah, after the Jets game, he had a quote. He said, when we come out and set the tone that you won't run on us, and then we go get our sacks, now that's what changes everything. And then he went on to say to all the teams with them game plans, come on, run at me, run at whoever. And the Cardinals certainly did. But I think what that quote also tells me is this is a defense in general that loves to rush the passer. But you have to look at rushing the passer as a reward for stopping the run. You got to do that first and put the other team into passing situations, which they did a great job of in the first 2 weeks. And then I think you're able to, pin your ears back and go get the quarterback. But unless you first stop the run, you don't have the opportunity to do that in the way that Micah, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Sam Williams and all these guys would like to.
Let's be honest. They was too big for their britches. They were full of themselves, and they thought they they were already talking about being a great defense and championship defenses. And one thing I said, championship defenses travel. They travel. That when you want to be the Ravens traveled every week. They didn't put up a performance like that. And it's one thing that Kirsch talked about. We have to. We want to be great. We got to do that. So, he said he wasn't great. He didn't have his best game. They talked. He and Michael both talked about that first run, and Michael's like, well, I thought he was gonna give it because you the quarterbacks on the zone read, they give it the first time. That's what Dobbs does. Dobbs is a running quarterback.
You played against him back in
why would you assume he's going to give it? I mean, the thing that hurts you most is the quarterback runs, and then and so he that was on Micah, and you talk about, and everybody, it's funny because everybody wants to talk about defensive tackles run game. Most of the runs they had were edge runs. The edge run. They weren't edge. They wasn't right up the middle. It wasn't. It was the edge.
And Micah talked today. Yeah. That was the play that he regretted the most. Was that first run?
Yeah. But it was edge runs. That they gave up, and the linebackers did not have a good game. Did not. Neither one of them. And I think that's the weak link on this defense. We talk about the great players on this defense, and we, especially when they had Diggs there, you had greatness in secondary, and you had great players at safety, and certainly you had the great defensive linemen, certainly Pro Bowl caliber and All Pro caliber, and Micah and D Law had a very good game, but the linebackers, they're average at best. And they did not have a good game Sunday. But it takes all of them. But if you're going to be great, and the problem is they talk a lot about being great and being a Super Bowl champion, defense, and if this team is going to win, it's going to be led by the defense. And everybody, I know Dak gets all the credit, but and that's how I keep telling people, the basis of Philadelphia and 49ers success has been their defense.
Trenches, too.
And their lines.
Both lines, trenches, yes.
Yes, their defense and their lines. That's been not their quarterback. I mean, the 49ers got the NFC Championship game the past 2 years of Garoppolo and Purdy. And you could say we love Purdy, he's doing great, but Garoppolo, you see what he's doing now when he's outside of that system. And that makes life easy for the quarterback. He looks awful with the Raiders right now. He's leading the league in interceptions, and things like that. And I venture to guess you put Purdy in a similar situation, everybody won't be whistling Dixie about how great he is either. But that defense has set things up. And if the Cowboys are going to win and beat something, this defense, which Mike McCarthy told me we got a great defense, trying to protect my damn defense, run the ball, protect my damn defense, they got to show up. There's no excuse for what they did against the Cardinals. None. I know it's early in the season. No excuse.
Ate the cheese?
Yes, they ate the cheese. There's no question about that.
It was kind of the perfect storm, too, because I think this offense was definitely hoping that the defense would set the tone as they did the first two games and help get out to a lead. And then it was Arizona who was able to get out to a lead. And the way the offense was constructed on Sunday, it was not constructed to be able to come back from a big deficit.
Right.
It's quick action. It took them 6.5 minutes to get down the field. And the red zone issues, you can just take that completely out of it. Just the fact that they had to take that long to get down the field, you're not going to be able to win a game like that.
And again,
or come back into
it. And what's unforgivable, and it's unforgivable and unconscionable, it's after you gave up the runs. After you gave up the runs and the offense got back in, made it 15-10, then you let them get scored before the half twice. And then after you get back close again in the second half, you give up the 69-yard pass. So we woken up. You got my attention. Now then you give up. Then you just don't ever put the screws like you should.
It's frustrating.
That should not happen if you're great. If you're a championship defense, that doesn't happen.
Who do you put that on?
I put it on whoever the defensive leader is on the field. Whoever that they consider to be their guy whenever they're on the field and having that communication.
11?
It starts with 11.
Starts with 11.
Okay.
Not having 7 on the field, I know that's a big part of it, but you got to be able to adjust to that. And
well, 7 was not the cornerbacks.
Yeah, I'm not saying he
the passing game. They did not want to throw the ball. They threw the ball when the guy was wide open because they blew the bus.
For me, it's 11, 55, and 90. I mean, those are
it's 11.
Yeah.
It's 11. 90 played well.
Right, but I'm saying in terms of the leaders, those are the
talking
three.
about vocally.
Yeah, but again, 11 set the tone when he gave up the 44-yard run for the second play of the game. And they were on their heels for the rest of the game, on their heels. And then you get the Dobbs run, and you got 55 chasing, and Kirsten, he admitted he did not have a good game. He said, I was awful.
It is.
I mean, that Rondale Moore run was
That's
just.
what I'm talking about.
Can't go untouched like that right up the middle.
It is a wild point to think that they were missing Trayvon Diggs on the left side and 3 offensive linemen up front. And it's hard to look at either of those things and say that's the reason that they lost the game. I don't think it is. I don't think either of those reasons are the reasons they lost that game. And
the penalties is one thing. The Cowboys need to stop complaining about penalties. Stop complaining about penalties. The penalties did not cost you that game. You did not play well.
Yep.
That's what cost you the game. But after the game, we got to play against the refs. No, you beat yourselves. They need to stop complaining about penalties. And I love Dak Prescott, but
let's hold that one.
I got one for you.
Hold that one.
Okay.
Hold that one right there. When we come back, we'll dive into the quarterback. We've kind of waited for this till the end. Dak Prescott not happy with Clarence, but we'll dive into that too. He is Nick Harris, Saad Youssef, Clarence Hill, Newey Scruggs. This is the Media Mash on DallasCowboys.com radio.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
To kick off the 2023 NFL season, Hugo Boss teamed up with the NFL and Micah Parsons to launch an iconic apparel collection featuring hoodies, crews, t-shirts, polos, joggers, and more. The bold, unique apparel of the Boss NFL collection unites football and fashion while reflecting what it truly means to be a boss. Get yours today at nflshop.com/HugoBoss, at HugoBoss.com, and at Boss retail stores. #Be your own boss.
We got big personalities. We got big hair, big belt buckles. We got fans all across this big state and enemies in every other one. We even got a big star on the 50-yard line. Smirnoff knows football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks home or away, we rally together. We cry together, and we always rally cry together because, most of all, we got big love for them boys. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
Back to Media Mash.
Media Mash, where we talk to media members here who cover the Dallas Cowboys and get their insights into things. Nick Harris, DallasCowboys.com. Saad Youssef of The Athletic. Clarence Hill of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. I am Newey Scruggs. Before we get into Dak Prescott, Mazi Smith talking these days? Because I have not seen Mazi the last couple times I've gone into the locker room.
I haven't seen him.
Mazi has not really talked since he's been here.
He was in there today.
Since that opening press conference. He's a bad, but he doesn't, he'll sit there and talk, but he answer your questions. It's like, what's the point at this point?
Okay.
Am I right?
No, you're not wrong at all.
Honestly, I think I honestly don't know that we have too much to talk about with him at this point now.
We do. He's the first round pick. Okay, right. That's not starting.
Yeah.
And the run defense gave up 181 yards in the first half. I mean, that's why he was brought here. It was the Cowboys. They drafted for need to fix the run issues. He was the pick they made. They could have drafted Joe Bergeron. They could have drafted some tight ends, whatever else that could help this team. They chose him because it was the biggest need. And what?
No results so far.
I will say Matthew Bergeron has not been that much better.
No, I'm just saying that's who they picked. I'm just saying though, and we don't know what he would look like on this line. If Tyler's at left tackle, he's at guard and center. I mean, you don't know, but. So he should be talking.
It's interesting because we basically, on game days, you forget about him. You forget about Mazi Smith, and that's when's the last time you've forgotten about a Dallas Cowboy first-round pick in the games where you just not even thinking about it?
No, and when I look at the defense line, I think the tackles are the worst part of the defense line. I know Osa's having a great year. And he's played well, but look at but there's no one else that's like showing up that in the Eagles defense they got 3 monsters in the middle of that defense.
So stay there. The thought process I had when they took Mazi Smith, that Mazi would be good enough to be boom right there, and then Osa next to him.
Right.
And we're not seeing that at all. And so 3 games in, I said, oh yeah, they did draft Mazi Smith. So I asked because I was in the locker room, talked to two defensive tackles. I didn't see him there, but I didn't stay the whole time. So that's what I was wondering. All right, Clarence, you had something to say about the quarterback?
Well, we can talk about the quarterback, but just the attitude. After the game, I asked because I had talked to Mike and talked to Marcus, and they said basically this could have been a wake-up call, or it was a needed wake-up call, and they was feeling too good about themselves, and those are things that came out of their mouths. And I asked Dak about it, and he said, no, I know the media's happy, that we lost. And that makes the media, that's on y'all. Y'all the one who blew us up.
You put us on the pedestal.
Put us on the pedestal, and y'all happy. And I'm like, first of all, as Bill Parcells said, being with the Cowboys is the big room, okay?
The Big Ten.
The Big Ten. It's like Vegas. You play in the big room in Vegas. I mean, that's part of it, but just piggybacking on, we cannot have this persecution complex. We cannot have, woe is me, everybody's picking on me with scrutiny. That's part that we can't have this victim mentality as a member of the Cowboys. Learn how to win. This predates you. This was Roger and them started America's team, and Troy and them had to go through this. They won. Tony had to go through this. This whole crying about the refs and crying about the media's rooting against us. Stop it. No one cares. Your issue, this issue, and I've been covering this team since they haven't won. Since 1997. Now, 4 playoff wins on my ledger, covering this team. They don't know what it takes to be champions. They've had great players. We can talk about, go back to 2007, 13-3. Let the Giants come and steal their, championship. They've had great players. They've had great teams. Okay. They don't know what it takes to be champions. And one thing I know doesn't take to be champions, having this persecution complex, has the victim mentality, complaining about the refs, complaining about, the media is rooting against us. That's not going to get you no titles.
And I think you're right about also complaining about the refs too, and because like the Gallup call, we all I think agree that's a pass interference, for sure. But when
they got bad calls, but that's part of it.
I mean, but boy, what you don't always hear, you won't anytime hear that Micah Parsons sack on 3rd down, Sam Williams was offsides. I mean, you don't hear about that because like you're only going to hear one side of that when it's coming from a specific locker room. I mean, you go and this is not true just for the Cowboys. This is true any team, and so that's why you can't have this whole referee thing because and the other thing is that always amuses me is when a team like the Cowboys, for example, a big market team. If there was any kind of slant, they'd be slanting in favor of you, if anything. These things just happen. Like missed calls happen, and so I agree. I think that can't always be that can't be the call.
And so getting back to the quarterback, I think Dak played well. He had one egregiously bad throw, a bad decision. The last one. I think Micah Parsons didn't give him enough opportunities down close. He admits he ran too much in the red zone. But outside of that, yes, you could say, the Gallup throw, he could have thrown a deal. That should have been a flag. Most underthrown balls get flags. I mean, it's like, it was underthrown. So what? I mean, 80% of interference calls come on underthrown balls. That's what, it's like, because the receiver's flailing and he runs right into the guy because he's coming back to the ball. So that shouldn't have anything to do with it. It should have been a 1st down at the 1. And then, you certainly call it something different. But he played well in that game up until that last throw. And again, you're down double digits. You're asking again, that's not the reason they lost. They lost because they didn't take care of business on defense and the penalties. But outside of that throw, I thought he played fine, but again, even if you get that throw, there's no guarantee you win that game because you still got to stop him. You still got to come and get another score. But the red zone offense, as I've said and I've tweeted and I've talked about, you can't throw to a 5'8" guy in the middle of the field. And I don't think they're going to do that again. This my conversations today. They're not going to make that, they would throw that play again. They're not going to do it to a 5'8" receiver.
That's and where I slightly disagree with what you said is you said the defense was the reason they lost. To me, the red zone offense is equally as culpable. You cannot get down there inside not just in the red zone, inside the 10-yard line 3 or 4 times and come away with whatever 3 or 6 points. It just can't happen. And they've failed at 9 red zone drives this season, and 7 of them were inside the 10-yard line. So and Dan Quinn talked about this with us on Monday, where there's higher in the red zone, lower in the red zone, and there's a difference in how defenses play that, how offenses play it. The closer they get to the goal line, the worse it gets for them. And if you go back and watch the game, and watching the all 22, you see, to your point about how the way that Dak played, if you look at the entire thing, Dak doesn't have anywhere to go with the ball. Nobody's open. Like, what is he supposed to do? And so for me, that comes back to play calling, and it comes back to the receivers getting open, all that stuff. I put more to blame than Dak, because looking at that, there's just the interception. At best, you're throwing a flag route to CD. The 4th and 4 that he threw into the dirt, no one's open on that play either. I don't know what he's supposed to do.
So looking at what you said, just go into the second half, where your first possession, you get down to the Arizona 8 in the second half, and you kick the field goal.
I think they should have kicked them that 4th and 4. That's a whole different game. If you kick the field goal, and then you're, it's a different. They made it tougher on themselves. Yes, you should have gone for it. I understand you want to score a touchdown, but if you kick the field goal, there's a whole different game.
Yeah, you got to get the points there.
So the second drive in the second half, they get it down to the Arizona 4. That's when they end up going on downs, went forward, lost. Then the third one, you got to the Arizona 8-yard line, and that's a field goal. And then your last possession, because you only had 4 in the second half offensive possessions, you get to the Arizona 6, and it's an interception. So if you can get yourself a 50% conversion there, it's a totally different game.
Yeah, and you put more pressure on. And I'm not absolving the red zone offense. I'm just saying that the best part of this team is defense. There's no way Arizona's without a turnover that leading to a score. They should not be scoring 28 points on you. They should not be scoring 28 points on that defense. If that defense is who they say they are. And you can kick 5 field goals and win that game. So that's what I'm saying. But they have to improve the red zone. There's no question about that. Again, Mike McCarthy didn't give Dak and offense enough opportunities to throw down there. But to your point about people being open, that's something I walked out with the offense coordinator. And they say, yeah, we have the guys in the red zone. We have the guys that make it work if you scheme it up right. So, what they don't have is a mismatch down close. They don't have a Dez Bryant. They have a Mike Williams. They don't have a Gronk. And you go back, and somebody put it up on Twitter the other day, that red zone touchdowns, Amari Cooper still has more red zone touchdowns in the Cowboys uniform than any Cowboys receiver since 2021.
Is there any issue at all that Dak Prescott has not hit a wide receiver for a touchdown since the Tampa Bay playoff game?
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand with what the play calling is inside the 20. When you're running mesh at the 17-yard line, it's kind of tough to get into the end zone in that sense, just because everything's much more in close quarters. You need to see a little bit more variance in that situation, and I think that that goes hand in hand with getting the ball into the hands of the receivers. I mean, it makes sense. Think about the guys who have had receiving touchdowns so far. It's tight ends, guys that are in those seams that are able to make things work right there. It's running backs that are coming out of the backfield and being able to use their athleticism out in space. Whereas these receivers, they're just coming into the middle of the field and it's jogging or log jamming everything up, and you can't get the ball to them. It's an interesting conundrum. They're 13 for 28, Dak Prescott in the red zone since the start of the season.
And what's also true is everybody was all excited about Ferg's shot and these tight ends, the young tight ends. They're just guys. They're great run blockers, but they're not big receiving threats.
I like what Ferguson has put together early in the season. I'm not saying that he's
caught
like
some balls, he's made some balls, but he ain't no threat.
I'm not saying he's a Pro Bowler by any means. He's looked good. He's looked good. There's potential there.
I think also we also should know that Dak Prescott historically is a very good red zone quarterback. Like his completion percentage is up there with literally Brady and those guys. So he is historically been very good, which is where I come back to the coaches. When you lose Dalton Schultz, when you lose Ezekiel Elliott, I'm not saying those guys in particular is what you need to be successful, but you need to, now you have Deuce Vaughn and Kevontae Turpin or whatever.
Dalton Schultz, I'm sorry.
Well, but he was
a better red zone threat than these tight ends they have now. And he caught a lot of red zone touchdowns from Dak Prescott.
And here's the thing with
last
Schultz
2 years,
as well,
lots
though.
of red zone touchdowns.
Schultz didn't really burst onto the scene until his third year in 2020. These things take time for you to develop into that. Jake Ferguson might get there someday. but he's not there right now. And so if he's not, you as a coaching staff, you have to alter your game plan. Maybe now, when you had Des Bryant, the fade is a lot more in your playbook. Well, now you have Deuce Vaughn and Turpin and Pollard and all these guys. Get these guys the ball in space and let them work.
So they should have drafted Sam Laporte over Mazi Smith. Gotcha. I hear you, Saad. I hear you, Saad. All right, that's the show today. Thank you, Clarence Hill. Thank you, Saad Youssef, Nick Harris. I appreciate you. I'm Newey Scruggs, Media Mash, right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!